All right, joined now by Panthers head coach Dave Canales. First, I have to tell you, Dave, outstanding year. What did you learn about your team, the way you finished, get into the postseason, and then carry that into 2026?
Really just ownership of play style, finding an identity. This is who we are. This is how we play, and we preach it over and over. Effort, enthusiasm, play smart, finish, toughness, all these things over and over. We're trying to ingrain it to them to understand this is what it has to look like. Can we step back before we get into the details of the X's and O's, which is so critical? It's got to look and feel a certain type of way. I believe we've found that. I believe we have a core group of leaders that stand for that. That's how we practice, and it shows up on Sundays. And now we got to get the consistency of the execution, and I believe that's the next step that's out there for us.
Love it. And the leader of that offense in Bryce Young and your quarterback, we saw so many stretches, Dave, this year where it's like it's game on a line, calmest guy on the field, those type of instances that he's at. What steps did you see him make in this season? It almost felt like he took more of an ownership of the offense as well.
You said it. I was just going to say ownership of our system and our concepts and getting us to the line so he can make educated decisions about what they're giving us and what's available, and that's the biggest step. And I want to give him more of those opportunities, the more that we can get everybody else on the same page. You have to operate with a certain sense of urgency to be up there to take advantage of what the defense is giving you. And while there are times, as a play caller, you find the right call against the right coverage, there are also so many more opportunities for the quarterback to affect the game when he's up there. He's done a great job of that. Not just that, but also leading the consistency. That's been a theme for Bryce over and over, is this consistency showing up. And we're really excited about that. And something that Dan Morgan and I have talked about is we got to build a team to get Bryce Young into critical situations, and he'll come through for us. Yeah. And he continues to do that, as well as just why we led the NFL in fourth down attempts this year. Is like, he thrives in those moments, and it's not too big for him. It could be 4th and 5, it could be 4th and 3, whatever that is. He'll make the right decision, and he'll get us a new set of downs.
For you guys, it was 4th and touchdown a couple times this year, man.
Absolutely.
Some of those plays were outstanding. With your offensive mind, and you mentioned the way Bryce has grown in those instances as well, but every quarterback in this league is specific in a way, right? And even Patrick Mahomes is a field player. He's a field quarterback. Jalen Hurts has these things that make him successful. What have you learned about the traits that you can lean into with Bryce and then pair them up with what you do offensively? Have you found that in the time you've had together now that it's been a couple of years?
Yeah, and what I've realized about Bryce is he's really magical with the ball. So there isn't a certain type of ball handling that he can't do. In-gun RPOs, fake jet sweeps under center, fake this guy, that guy, pull up and throw. Like he can manufacture all those like a point guard. He's so gifted with his control of the football and command of it. He really gives us an opportunity to do whatever we want to, and that really calls upon us as a staff to continue to find creative ways to create a decision and affect the defense different ways. So I love that part about his game. Touch down the field, just like laying it out there away to the sideline, in between the numbers, a bunch of different areas where he can affect it because of his accuracy.
Now, you picked T-Mac where you picked him last year, probably saw him out here at the Combine. When did you know you had this type of player that was going to be able to make an impact that quickly, right, in his rookie year? Because his receiver is a hard position. I mean, there's a lot to it. But to make the impact he made and be that guy when you mentioned touchdown the field for Bryce, like the way he operates in terms of being now a go-to player in go-to moments. Everybody in the stadium may know he's getting the football. He still will find a way to make a play. How early did you know he'd be that player?
Well, it's easy to see a 6'4", 225-pound guy who's fluid in and out of his routes, beautiful hands. So that part we knew. What we didn't really know, which is hard to tell, is really how quickly he was going to assimilate to the pro game. And that showed up in spring. That showed up by his command of our offense, the installs. We were asking him to learn, coaching little nuances on splits, route stems, different things that he could just incorporate into his game. Rob Moore, our receivers coach, has done a fantastic job with T-Mac, getting him to learn how to fight at the line of scrimmage. But conceptual learning, just he's a football player, and we know he's going to make the right decision. It allows us to put him in different spots in formation. It allows us to give him adjustments to coverage that he can incorporate into his game. Those are the things that are really special beyond the physical attributes that really led to a successful rookie year.
They make what you just said makes me be like, I'm ready for year 2 now, right? Like we're going to build off of this like crazy. To the other side of the ball, what do you see on the defense side? You have obviously one of the best interior players in the entire game. How can you, while you're here in free agency, everything that you can improve this roster, where are you looking on the defensive side of the ball to help get that group better?
You know, we added some key pieces in free agency with Trey Merrick coming in at safety. We added Bobby Brown, Turk Wharton to the interior of it. And then, of course, in the draft, Nick Scorton, a player that really came into his own even towards the end of the season. We already had JC. Michael Jackson had a phenomenal
Outstanding year.
This is a group that came to play really good football together down the stretch. A great starting point and a foundation. Starting with the development mind, how do we get these guys to take the next step together to start off with the chemistry? And then Dan and I just look to try to challenge every single room through free agency and the draft process. That's our best way of creating a competitive team. Let's keep throwing great players at these groups so that we can accomplish what we want to.
Okay. So since we're here at the Combine, when you get time with these players and you're trying to find who fits the culture of what you and Dan have created and the identity, like you're mentioning, how quickly can you find that and what are you looking for when you sit down with these prospects?
Yeah, I gotta humbly say that's a really difficult process. And to think that you're going to have somebody picked based on a 20-minute interview, you're crazy. But what we start off is how well does this person know who they are? How organized and streamlined can they tell their story, the critical moments of their life, the aha moments when they realized I have a chance to do something special with this career, or when they realize something about themselves through adversity. Guys who can tell that story, in my experience, are the ones who are successful. If you know where you've been, you know where you're going, and you know how to find your way there. And you can tell when a guy doesn't have his world in order pretty quick.
Okay.
So those are the outliers. But then it's the hundreds of guys in the middle that it takes multiple interactions to get a feel for who they are. And of course, we understand it's an interview. This is the best that they're putting forward. So it's a real challenge, and we have to go based on the football character that shows up on film and whether this person knows who they are and where they come from.
Okay, got it. All right, so then the last one is this, Dave, what do you get most out of this week in terms of helping build your football team, right, and build your organization? What is the one aspect of Combine Week that you take the most out of?
I would certainly say those interactions,
those 20-minute interviews,
the interpersonal contacts with the players, and then beyond that, it's having members of our staff here go have breakfast, have lunch. We're talking off-season training camp, and just kind of we're out of our building. We're here, so there's not really a lot to do in the middle of the day other than to connect with each other, and those types of things just pay dividend down the road as we continue to try to build this organization. Connecting with the scouts as well. We're all on the same page here. We're all hanging out together, having dinners together, and it's a special time. It's a bonding experience for us.
Awesome. Dave, appreciate the time.
All right, thanks for having me.